Hello everyone. Thank you for joining our Chan class for Asia timeline. How are you today? Today I'm very happy because 15 years ago, one of my ex-disciples, a Chinese-Vietnamese woman, I'm not sure which one comes first, she no longer with me, of course. She left to go to my master's temples, and I think they rejected her as well. Anyway, she was a very good cook, and so one day, at the time, we were struggling a lot of all sorts of struggles. Everywhere we looked, it's hard, so hard. And then. And one day she on a weekday, lunch, she cooked lunch, and she made some vegetarian dish, and it was so good. I said, "Wow, this is almost like a real thing," and I wish I could have some beer with it, because that's what I would do when I was a lay person. I would eat this kind of dish and then drink beer. It's good enough to be drunk with beer. And he said, of course, I will. If you like it, I cook you some more of it. And then only a month later, she became disenchanted with me because I refused to let her become my number one woman. And now she says, "You don't want me. You don't obey me, I will quit." I said, "Okay, good luck to you. You want, I give you a recommendation letter. Go anywhere you want." And she left. How do you get the Buddha here? Yeah. Anyway. And so today, so I lost the recipe forever, I thought. And today I ate a similar kind of dish. And it made me so happy, it made me so nostalgic. And what is this dish? You might be wondering. My cook says it's called vegetarian chicken. I said, no, it's not vegetarian chicken, it's vegetarian duck, you dummy. Anyway, so I explained to the people who went to lunch, we had lunch together, and said, "What's the difference between a chicken and a duck?" I said, "No, what's the difference?" I said, "One is cook, the other quack, 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 quack." It's no mistake about it. Okay, guys, chicken and duck are totally different in my mind. Anyway. So I was in a good mood today, until I came here for lunch for chant, and then after about half an hour, one of my students started throwing tantrums again. When you cultivate chant, you don't realize it, but you have so many obstructions. All sorts of karmic obstructions would come to distract you and distract everyone around you. And so I look at myself, what happened to my lieutenants? They're not even here. It's just like I teach them now, they know, they don't care to come to my classes anymore. It's like I teach a bunch and then they feel good enough, they leave, and the next batch comes. That's why my classes are always the same size. And the good ones always leave. Anyway, so my lieutenant was not here, so I was not in a good mood. So how dare you? I was in a good mood with the vegetarian duck. And so instead of doing things, I became violent. So I reached out to the ghost with my right hand, grab its throat, and squeeze real hard. Like a duck. And it behaved right away. Anyway, that's my Dharma talk today. Anyone has any questions? Any questions? Yeah. I'm pleased too, because I go up and down the coast, northern, southern California, and to take care of our students, our people. And so I see people coming to do Chan, and it made me very happy in person here, because I see they're getting better and better gradually, okay, and that pleases me to no end. Because when you practice Chan, the one thing that that happens first. This is a process. When you practice Chan, the way we train you is by design. It worked for thousands of years in China already. And great Master Hsuan Hua brought the Dharma here to the U.S. and taught it to transmit it to my generation. And unfortunately, I wasn't there to receive it personally. I learned it secondhand by reading his the English translation, his instruction, which is filtered already. Okay, but some of it stuck in my mind, and so I used it. I revered it and used it, and it worked very well. And as over the years, I began to understand why in these what he taught us certain ways, because I also had the chance to compare the way I teach Chan versus the way my the senior disciples, Master Hsuan Hua, teach Chan, and actually we're quite different. And so we're able to compare the two approaches, where they have a lot to lose, have a lot of people that they need to cater to. And so for me, I have nothing and no one, so I am fearless and not interested in fame and profit. So I taught it the hard way, because my interest was never to get more students, more disciples, and become more famous, and so forth. I taught because I was told to teach. That's all by Master Hsuan Hua. And since he never told me how to teach and what to teach, I have the freedom, the leeway, lots of leeway to choose what I teach and how I teach it. So I chose his style. Because when I was at his temples after he died, I was not impressed by their styles of teaching. So I said, that's not how I understand Master Hsuan Hua's teachings. So I'm going to be true to his teachings, whether people like it or not. And maybe 2 or 3 people didn't mind, but the rest of them walked away. And so I found that I developed over the years. I stuck to the original style of Wei Yang training that Master Hsuan Hua brought here, and then we evolved a little bit to accommodate your needs, because then my students' level became higher than his, so I had to adapt. Because you see, each teaching style works for up to a certain level, and then like Master Hsuan Hua, and then beyond that you need to change, because his original teaching style was too slow in my mind. When you reach high level, it cannot be that slow anymore. So I had to go more, for example, specifically into certain teaching. The way he taught, brought the Dharma he brought and transmitted, decided to transmit to the Americans here, the people here, is more 90% gradual, 10% sudden. Okay, and they work up to a certain point. Traditionally worked for in China, and up until his times, it's the same proportion, about 95% gradual, and at most 5% sudden. From what I've seen from Master Xun, from the other teachers before him, patriarchs before him. And so we had to change. And so I'm learning a lot. It's still evolving. As you evolve, I will evolve as well to try to accommodate your needs. And so what's constant is that the first process of the Chan training is to cleanse your mind. Your mind has ickiness that you don't realize because you've been living like this all your life. You're so used to it that you don't notice anymore. And so the Chan training is about cleansing that part of your mind that's not healthy, that's not good for you. And by that process, by the simple fact that, for example, we ask you to cross your legs and sit, okay? That is a process of cleansing your mind. Yeah. Yes, for many of you, it comes with struggling with your legs and so forth, and your hips and so forth, and ankles and so forth, like I did a lot. I struggled a lot. But as you cleanse your mind, your body becomes healthier. So, conversely speaking, when I look at you and say, oh wow, you're healthier than the last time I looked at you, that means to me, it only happens because your mind is cleaner than before. All right? It's not easy. And let me remind you, this is a hardcore training. It's not for everyone. Let me remind you, because there's plenty of great teachers out there who teach you meditation. And you can go and you have so many choices, so many temples, so many online courses, so many apps you can learn from. And therefore, what we do is different. We do more on the top tier of the Chan training, where we are more demanding. And if you can keep up with those processes, wonderful things happen. You'll be amazed on what you're capable of. How healthy, in particular, physically, you'll be a lot healthier. And that's what I see. I see you becoming healthier. And that's a proof for me that you're making progress and the process is working. All right, question from JMT, Korea.
항상 가르침에 감사드립니다, 마스터. 저는 작년 3월부터 선명상을 거의 매일 하루 1시간에서 2시간 정도 하고 있으며 많은 효과를 경험했습니다. 이런 선명상을 일찍 알게 되었으면 더욱 진전이 빨랐으리라 생각합니다. 제가 불교 경전과 불교 관련 책을 여러 권 읽어보았는데 결과부자의 중요성을 이야기하는 경전이나 책을 거의 보지 못한 것 같습니다. 이런 중요한 결과부자의 자세에 대해 불교 경전이나 불교 책에 언급되지 않았는지, 혹은 제가 읽지 않은 경전의 내용이 나와 있는지 궁금합니다.
Hello. 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 Can you hear me? 네? 되는 거예요? Hello. Hello. Okay. check. Sound check. Hello? Okay. Thank you for your teachings, Master. Last year, starting from March, I started to cultivate full lotus for 1 or 2 hours a day. And I'm already experiencing so many good things. And I think if I knew this earlier, then my progress has been faster. And I read a lot of sutras and books, but I never saw no one emphasizing on full lotus posture. If this is so important, why wouldn't they emphasize in the sutras or lecture or in the books? Or is it in the sutra that I haven't read?
That's it? Okay. Good question. It's amazing on how well-read people have so many questions that they cannot find answers to from the things they read. And that's the nature of Buddhism, Mahayana in particular. Hinayana is probably easier for them to find answers. Why is that? Because Hinayana teachings is actually, the Hinayana teachings cater to your thinking mind. So it has a lot more information for you. Whereas Mahayana, where Chan is to me personally, my exposure has been Chan is the most powerful and hence the most important technique or technology for training the future generations. And so in Chan, there are a lot of things that are not available in the sutras and in the teachings. And this is an illustration why in Mahayana we have a patriarch lineage, whereas Hinayana we don't. Okay, Mahayana we recognize the patriarch lineage, starting first with great master Mahakasyapa, an Arhat actually is a bodhisattva. All the patriarchs are bodhisattvas. Yeah, they're all enlightened and they all understand Chan. Most of them don't teach Chan that well, but they understand Chan. Okay, that's important. And many of the patriarchs do not need to train. That's why their jobs, my primary job is something else. It's not to train people. Okay. For example, Great Master Xu Yun, even though he was recognized as the patriarch for all 5 Chinese schools of Chan, but including Weiyang, and then but his training skills are not there. The proof is, I speak from facts. The proof is that most of the students he taught are not that good. The level is rather low in my mind. And in particular, his successor, Master Hsuan, did not have to train from under him at all. Okay? Because at Great Master Hsuan's level, he's not that skilled in training people. He doesn't have to be. I mean, it takes a lot more before you can be trained how to be to understand Chan fully. Okay, so Master Hsuan had different teachers, and therefore he came and simply of all the 5 Chan schools, he was designated as a Weiyang patriarch, and that's good enough, which in my mind encompasses probably all the 5 schools because it's the most advanced Chan lineage. Okay, and so that's why we. My point being that in a Chan school, the objective is to help you develop samadhi power. Okay, there's a principle behind it. You develop samadhi power, and hence after that, with high, as you increase your samadhi power, your wisdom will also increase. And then you'll be able to learn the sutras and Vinayas and so forth. All right, and so that's why in the Chan school, which is separate from the teaching school, this is why the gentleman's question is about where did I miss? Did I miss it from sutras? No, you did not. You did not at all. For example, even in Hinayana teachings, the Hinayana meditation is about mindfulness of the breath. It's one of the major forms of practices, is to be mindful of your breathing. As a Buddha taught in the Satipatthana Sutra. I read that sutra at least 50 times. When I first started. And it still wasn't clear to me on how to do it. And there's lots of potential for misinterpretations. And there are different types of interpretations, as a matter of fact. You can be, the Buddha taught about mindfulness of meditation, but the teachers after him, his disciples, chose to teach mindfulness of meditation differently. For example, many of them teach breath counting. Even in breath counting there, you count your breath. You count. The first one I learned from Hinayana teachers was you inhale and exhale. That's you count 1, and then next breath you count 2. Next breath you count 3, up to 10. So 1 to 10. When you get to 10, you inhale and exhale. Now you go the reverse direction. You count 9. Next breath is 8, 7, 6, and so on, down to 1. Okay, and then you go up again. So you go 1 to 10, 10 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 1, like that, continually. That's called breath counting. Got that? And even that process, the Buddha did not spell out exactly what to do in the Satipatthana Sutta, the mindfulness of breathing sutta in Hinayana teachings. And so it's open for different styles of interpretations. So that's typically what I will learn from Hinayana training in meditation, is how you count the breath. You can read it in so many places. But when Master Shenhua taught breath counting, I think he did it slightly differently. Anyone remembers? I think his counting is slightly different. I forgot already because I don't like breath counting. It's nonsense to me. Okay. So I apologize. Somehow now today I forgot because I really don't think much of it. You're free to look it up and whatever. And because I find it too confusing, too subject to misinterpretations, and because I did it wrong and no one corrected me, and so I have I don't feel good about that process. Okay, yeah, and so the methods can be interpreted differently by the different masters, different teachers, and that's the nature of meditation. Okay, so my point being that it's not documented with great details in the sutras by the Buddha on purpose, because it's designed to help to let the patriarchs or the teachers have a lot of leeway to how to interpret it, how to do it with their students. Okay, maybe back then, in the Buddha's time, There's no need for full lotus at all. People can simply, they had a lot of blessings, and therefore, when they meditated, the Buddha said, okay, you should meditate, and many of them would meditate in full lotus, okay, and they could sit for hours easily, whereas nowadays we struggle, okay, and so it's a function of the times. Back then, people were able to get in full lotus a lot easier, and so the emphasis is really not on full lotus. So the full lotus was used differently, whereas nowadays, I use full lotus to challenge you, to make it difficult for you. Why? Number one, to tell you, number one is to discourage you. Is this for you or not? How badly do you want it? You don't want it, this is not a place for you. Okay? But if you want it, there's a very big reward that comes with your willing to put up with it, to struggle. Okay? So full lotus for now era is a test, is a struggle for most of us, including myself. I struggle a lot in full lotus. And so each era is different. Nowadays, as I said, the full lotus, I use it to speed up your training. I don't have to. A lot of people come nowadays, and so we tell them we teach them to get into full lotus. But if they can't, it's okay. They can go without full lotus, and it's okay. It's not a problem. I started myself to teach in full lotus because I wanted to screen out the people I didn't want to teach. But nowadays, it's my students' turn who teach the newcomers. Therefore, I ask them to be more lenient, more easygoing, and don't make it too tough for the newcomers, so that we can help a lot more people. They can help a lot more people. I'm impatient by nature, and so I teach differently, but they should be more kind and more compassionate, and they should include more people, should be more patient. That's part of the training. All right? My patience training was different. Theirs now, my students' training now, is to learn to put up with students. Okay? And so, that's point number 2. That is, it's different times, therefore the teachings emphasis are different. And then number 3, Chan school in Mahayana does not depend on words. A lot of things we teach you, a lot of Chan knowledge, is not committed to paper. It's by design. We don't want to tell you everything. Absolutely not. Okay? Too many bookworms. Chan school is one of the rare schools where you find so much literature on the Chan from all sorts of teachers. Okay? And the great teachers like Master Bodhidharma, like Master Mazu, or Master Weishan, you get very limited amount of teachings that's left. Okay? And because that's all that we deserve to get to our generation. We don't have enough blessings to be able to have access to all the teachings. Even like right now, where Master Hsuan-Hua, when he taught in America, in the United States for about 60s until 90s, right? It's 30 years, one generation. He left behind a mountain of cassette tapes, and only a small portion was selected by his disciples to transcribe and translate, which is great for us. But a lot of it is not, and because I guess we don't have enough blessings to have access to it. I used to be very bitter about it, very upset about it, and I used to criticize them and say, this doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the Dharma realm. It belongs to all of us. Therefore, it should be made available to everyone. If you really do your job as Dharma heirs to Master Shinhwa, then it's your primary number one responsibility is to make it available, unedited, unaltered, because your level is too low to try to edit, try to alter it, or try to decide what's good and what's not. Okay? It takes a lot of wisdom. How can you possibly understand his intentions when he yells at someone, when he praises someone, okay? When he chastises people publicly, and so forth. There's a teaching there that's very profound, a lot more than what appears to be. Okay, Master Shinhwa, one Bodhisattva told me long time ago when I was confused. I didn't know what he meant. Since I learned everything secondhand, and I asked his disciples for clarifications, which I received none. So one Bodhisattva told me. The Bodhisattva says, "I met Master Shinhwa. You know what he reminds me of?" I said, "What?" "A chameleon." What's a chameleon? In Vietnamese is "kake." Okay? Chameleon. What a chameleon, nature chameleon is that it changes colors to disguise himself from the enemy. He changes green colors to green, red, yellow, whatever. Okay, naturally. Okay, and I say, yeah, that makes sense because Master Shinhwa is a chameleon. Okay, he does things when he needs to be green, he'll be green. When he needs to be red, he'll be red. So we don't have enough wisdom to interpret why he's angry now, why he's nice now, does he like this person more than the other, and so forth. He's a chameleon. Don't try to understand him. It's none of our business. Okay? So that's a long answer to tell you that it's not available in the books, and it's a process of self-discovery. Chan is about, like in the old times, Chan, the best way to practice Chan is to practice under a good knowing advisor, okay, who had done it before and who's interested and committed to help you get better. It's a very long answer to a very simple question. Did I answer his questions, or did I miss anything? All right. Yes, 6.
Master, I have 2 questions. Number 1 is, should I try to fight my sitting while listening to your lecture? Because I do have challenging sitting. When I try to fight in doing lecture, I can't hear anything that Master says. So my current choice is that to fight sitting when I'm not in the lecture, like in the meditation session or my own time. And doing lecture, I'm not fighting, trying to sit slightly longer, just so I can hear Master's lecture. Is this a right thing to do? That's my first question.
What's your experience? There's so many people who went through what you went through. Okay, never mind. Ignore my question. I didn't mean it. Yeah. I forgot. I tend to forget this is Asians. You guys are not as vocal as the Caucasians. Yes, Caucasian person.
Yeah, so before I also used to have the same question, but in my case, I was trying to fight while listening to Master, but I had the thought that I don't want to do it, so I am buckled because I was avoiding the pain. And I put that excuse, like I want to listen to Master, but in reality, I just don't want to face the pain.
So what do you recommend?
In my case,
that's what she asks.
Now I try to continue.
You try to fight?
Yeah.
Before you didn't?
Yeah.
See? Half and half. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, this is what's fascinating about you, so many of you now. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. I have the same question before. So I just follow my heart, follow my feeling. I think most time I just unbuckle. But sometimes I have a goal, like today I need 2 hours, so I will fight during the Dharma talk. And I have
So you weren't listening to me at all? Just to clarify.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, you did not. Yeah means yes. No
Yes.
means you did not.
Yes.
No, you did not.
No.
No, you did not. Okay. Just to clarify. Okay. I remember you now.
But I have a tip for Shirley. That's if you want to fight, you can use Master. You ask a question. If you feel very, very painful, you just ask a question, and then you got to distract from the painful. It's very, very useful. So that's my experience.
So you are recommending her to interrupt my lecture and ask questions?
Yes.
Just to distract yourself.
Yes. I
Okay.
think it's helpful.
You are so selfish. I'm so disappointed at you.
I give this suggestion to a lot of Chinese during the
Only Chinese people. Okay, you non-Chinese, ignore that.
Chan class, Master X Chan class.
I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your input. How brave of you. Yes, DTT. JC.
제이씨, 마스터 제이씨의 질문자가 있나요?
안녕하세요, 마스터.
Hello.
저는 지금 풀로투스 한 지가 한 4년 가까이 돼가고 있습니다. 그래서 제 경우에는 계속해서 2시간 앉을 때까지는 앉는 자세에 중점을 두었어요. 물론 마스터 설법 시간에는 가끔 한두 번씩 이렇게 몸을 움직이고 그러기는 했지만 앉는 데 중점을 두어서 설법을 들었습니다. 그런데 2시간 앉는 것까지가 상당히 자유롭다고 생각이 된 시점에 갑자기 힙 조인트에 아주 막 아파가지고 어떻게 해를 못하겠어서 설법 듣는 시간이 아니고 평소에도 30분 이상을 앉기가 어려웠어요. 그래서 내가 이거 뭔가 잘못했나? 무슨 장애가 오고 있나? 이게 테스트인가? 여러 가지 생각이 들었지만 어떻게 해야 될 줄 몰랐어요. 이걸 꾹 참고 끝까지 밀어붙이는 게 답인지 조금 쉬워주는 게 답인지 그걸 모르겠어서 한 4개월 정도를 혼자서 스트럭을 했습니다. 그리고 마스터 설법 시간에는 아예 앉지를 못하고 그냥 편한 상태로 있었다. 어쨌든 하면서 하다가 최근에 정형외과를 갔더니 그 힙 조인트에 칼시피케이션이 일어났다고 하면서 이제 치료를 시작을 했습니다. 그러고서 생각을 해보니까 한 2시간까지 앉을 때까지는 앉는 것에 집중을 하는 게 좋겠고 이제 그 상태를 좀 벗어나면 마스터 설법에 더 중점을 주는 게 좋지 않을까 저 개인적인 경험입니다. 이상입니다.
방금 결과보다 이제 얼마나 되셨다고 하셨죠?
네, 4년 가까이 됐습니다.
Hello, Master. It has been 4 years that I have been practicing Full Lotus. And until I could sit until 2 hours, I was more focused on my posture. And then during your lecture, maybe I fidgeted my body for 1 or 2 times, but I was more focused on sitting. And after about, I could sit freely until 2 hours. I suddenly had a big pain in my hip joint area, and I couldn't do anything to sit more. Even when it's not the lecture time, in the regular days, I couldn't even sit for 30 minutes. So I didn't know what was wrong. Is this a test, or what should I do? Should I endure more, or should I take a rest? So I was struggling by myself for 4 months, and I couldn't sit at all during your lecture. And I went to the hospital recently, and then there was a calcification in my hip joint, and I treated those problems. And after that incident, I realized maybe until you make until 2 hours, until you freely sit until 2 hours, maybe during the lecture you focus on your sitting first, and then if you manage to sit for 2 hours freely, then maybe focusing to master's lecture is more important, I think. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So the point being that, what is the point?
The point is until you make 2 hours sitting, like you're confident with your 2 hours sitting, before that you focus on your sitting first during the lecture.
Okay.
But if you're confident, then focus on your lecture.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you for your sharing your experience. Anything else from DTT? I thought I saw DTT. Is it a question or answer from DTT?
Answer.
Answer?
Yes.
네.
들리세요?
Okay,
네.
okay.
네. 그게 제가 기억하기로는 셜리의 지금 현재 인스트럭션이 결과부자로 기억하고 있는데 그게 현재 셜리의 인스트럭션이 결과부자가 맞는지 먼저 여쭤보고 싶거든요. 네.
So I want to ask first that as I remember, Shirley's instruction is full lotus. Is that right?
Yes.
네, 그러니까 이제 저의 그런 좁은 소견에는 그게 현재 마스터 인스트럭션이 무엇인지에 따라서 다른 선택을 해야 된다고 생각하거든요. 그러니까 만약에 인스트럭션이 결과부자라고 한다면 법문 시간에는 결과부자를 절대 풀지 않겠다고 결심을 하고 한번 끊을게요.
So my 2 cents is that I would act differently following master's instructions. If the master's instruction is full lotus, then I will focus on full lotus during his lecture.
그리고 그런 다시 듣고 그다음에 법문은 다시 듣기로 들어서 내용을 숙지하면 된다고 생각하고요.
And the lecture, you could always replay the lecture and hear it again.
근데 이제 그게 아니라 만약에 마스터의 법문을 들어서 법문을 듣는 게 인스트럭션이라면 관가부자를 하던 법문 듣기 집중하는 게 제 생각엔 맞다고 생각하거든요. 네.
But if the instruction is listening to master's lecture, then if you do half lotus or whatever, I think you should focus on listening to the lecture.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share his or her experience? Okay. All right. Now, the answer, yes, go ahead.
안녕하세요. 저는 결과부자를 시작한 지 몇 달 안 됐는데 설리랑 거의 같은 생각을 갖고 있었어요. 그 마스터 법문을 들을 때 집중하는 게 옳은 건지 결과부자를 하고 있는 게 옳은 건지 그러다가 이제 저는 나름 제가 할 수 있는 만큼 결과부자를 하고 마스터 법문을 집중해서 듣다가 결과부자 한 다리가 좀 아프다 싶을 때 결과부자를 풀고 그러면 금방 다시 좋아져서 다시 또 결과부자를 하고 또 집중을 하고 그거를 계속 반복해서 듣고 있는 중인데 이게 옳은 건지 저도 잘 모르겠어서 지금 다시 제가 했었던 거에 대해서 의견을 나눕니다.
Thank you, Master. Hello. For me, I've been only been a few months since I've been started to practice full lotus, and I have same question as Shirley. Should I focus or should I do full lotus? For now, during master's lecture, I try my best to do full lotus, and I try to also focus on master's lecture. But if my leg starts to feel too much pain, then I unbuckle my leg and I listen to master's lecture. And then soon enough, my leg is okay again. So I would cross my legs again. So I will unbuckle and cross, unbuckle and cross. So now I have a question, is this a right way or not? So I'm just sharing my experience.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing your experience. It up to you is the answer. Each one of you has your preferences. Yes, DTT.
Master, it's the experience from when I was a lay person.
Okay. Please share with us.
Yes, I remember when I was a lay person, when I was live in San Diego and go to Blue Mountain Temple to hear the Sunday lecture. It was 2 hours. So I just started to be able to cross the legs of 1 hour. So 2 hours, very tough. So my experience that from the first hour of sitting, I can endure the pain and listen to Master. But then after 1 hour, and then the pain like capture my mind. I cannot even hear. Didn't even know what Master was lecturing that time. So I didn't. But from now, but then looking back, I think we don't set a certain mind. We just try our best to sit longer, because if we sit longer, we help us to understand the lecture more correctly, because that push through. If we don't try to sit longer and then our understanding just from the thinking mind, but we let it push through, and then the level of understanding is deeper. That's my sharing.
I'm very proud of you. You are able to explain yourself clearer and clearer. Okay, try to use. Your goal for this year, by December, is try to use 20% fewer words when you explain yourself. You're doing fine right now, but it's more efficient. You can be more succinct and get to your point, and by speaking 20% less by year end. Okay, give yourself time. Okay, think about it and experiment. The answer is, as he said, Master Z is very good. He said is that it's up to you. Each person is different, depends on your level of ambition. For you in particular, you're very goal-oriented and sort of like a big mama. You don't mess with this mama here. So each person is different. You know, with Nacho, he says, okay, I'm going to do a little bit, and then I want to listen, and then I try it again. So whatever you wish. My recommendation is I want you to understand my attitude. My attitude is that I throw something hard for you to do. If it's easy, you don't need to come to me anymore. Okay? If whatever I teach you is so easy for you, is no challenge for you, then it's, I'm useless to you. Okay, my role is to make it difficult for you, make it challenging for you. So if I say sit in full lotus, you taught now training is sit in full lotus for an hour or two and so forth. So shoot for it. Keep on fighting and fighting and fighting all the time. Includes the lecture. Okay, and that's your foundation. But however, we're also flexible because it takes a lot of blessings for you to be able to set your mind to fight. It's not that easy. It's, for example, people who are famous, they can't do that because they don't look good. You know, what if someone catches, the TMZ catches a photo and then posts it online, go viral within seconds. That's bad for you. Okay, and so rich people say, can I have it my way? Kind of thing. Can I buy it? Yeah. How much do I have to pay? You. Okay. You got what I want. So it's different. Each person is different. You can. We're very flexible in that sense. You need to challenge yourself. I would, for you in particular, you goal oriented. I would go shoot for increase. Everything for you should be to go towards that goal, to build it, so that you can sit longer this time. And next time, sit a bit longer. That's all you have to do. Okay? Second question, quickly. I have 5 minutes left.
Number 6.
Six.
One of the reasons that I want to focus in the lecture is because the master's sudden teaching. That's also one of the reasons I try to be wherever a master is. And I'm just wondering why most masters use only 5% sudden teaching. Because sudden teaching to me is just so much more efficient and powerful. Is that because of students or because of teacher or other reasons? Thank you, Master.
No, I'm saying in general, the patriarchs traditionally get by with very little sudden teaching because, unfortunately, the Chinese of the recent centuries or so don't have enough blessings anymore. Sudden teaching, you need a lot of blessings to be able to listen and understand. So I look at Master Hsuan-Hua's teachings, I say about 90%, 80, if you're generous, 90% to me is gradual and 10% is sudden. It's because of his students. They're not there. and therefore I'm grateful that he have at least 10% certain teaching because I like it. I like that part. His students, it's not for his students, by the way. So when Master Shinhua taught, it's primarily for the next generation. So who is going to teach? When you hear, of course, I have to pay attention to you to address your needs. You made the effort to come here to join us. Therefore, I try to respond to your needs and meet your needs. So that's why his teachings I saw is not a whole lot of certain teaching because it's not for his students. Okay, it's enough to whet my appetite, and then it made me curious. This is why is that it's not enough certain teaching for my generation. Okay, so I had to look elsewhere. So it's for different purposes. What I meant is for the patriarchs, before Master Shinhua, Master Shiyun, certain teaching is sort of like 1% maximum. He does not understand certain teaching, how to teach certain teaching, for example. So, and then the other patriarchs that I know, I read about, their level is not even high enough to even consider to understand certain teaching themselves, let alone teach it. Okay, and so that's why I said that in my humble opinion, the most of the patriarchs traditionally get by with the last few centuries, 4 or 5 centuries, with gradual teaching. Certain teaching is not necessary for a patriarch because patriarchs are supposed to do certain things, and so they happen not to do a lot of certain teaching. And but the Chinese literature, Chinese scriptures have a lot of certain teaching. That's our saving grace. That's why you all need to learn certain Chinese if you want to dig deeper. I don't have enough time or wisdom to be able to help you understand all the Chinese certain teaching from the great teachers in the past from China. That is only available in Chinese, not available in English. Okay, and so, but for me, I'm leaning more and more on certain teaching, depending on who I need to teach, depending on the timing, is whether it's time or not, because of the diverse degree, the diverse level of the students. Because when I'm here, I look at you and say, okay, I need to teach these people. I see you ready for it. Whereas, but I'm also have people tuning in online, and it's being recorded by future people as well. So it's a mix for me. You cannot tell. So some days, some people I need to teach more. Some other days I need to teach different level more, and so forth. Okay, so probably from outside, I'm trying to introduce more certain teaching for your future generation to challenge my students, the next generation. I would say if Master Shinhua is about 90. I'm probably more like 70 to 75 because of your levels, and probably more if more of you need to be taught. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. Time is up. We stop here today. Thank you.